What's going on, everybody, and welcome to my review of Captain America.
You want me? Come and get me!
Anthony Mackie is Cap. Sam Wilson is Cap. So if I'm being completely honest, I went into this movie with high expectations, and they met them, but not quite in the way that I was expecting. I was expecting this to be like a standalone movie. Sam Wilson comes out. I'm Cap. Let's do this. We don't know what's going on, but all we know is that Red Hulk is going to be in there, and Giancarlo Esposito is going to be blowing stuff up. The movie, I thought, took a great twist on the direction as well. I love that he doesn't rely solely on his abilities. Anthony Mackie's Captain America was not centered around him being the strongest or the smartest or any of that.
Every time I pick this thing up, I know there are millions of people out there who are going to hate me for it.
So Danny Ramirez, who plays Joaquin Torres, is the new Falcon as well. I love that, his connection with Anthony Mackie as well. And he definitely did contribute in this movie as well. But we got to put some respect on Carl Lumbly's name at this point.
So what are we doing here? Orthopedics? How to relearn how to walk after you break a hip?
Coach!
I don't know how old this man is, but some of the scenes he did in this movie are just incredible. Now, like, once again, I don't know if he did them himself, but if he did, sir, Carl Lumbly, if you see this, I hope to get there one day. I'll say that. And his emotional range was crazy. Like his connection with Sam Wilson, it kind of references back to, as I mentioned, Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I loved his emotional roller coaster in this movie.
You asked for me. Here I am.
And also, one thing I didn't realize that I missed was Bucky and Sam's relationship. Like, their chemistry on the screen is just unmatched. Like, once again, I know I'm fanboying out over the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, but their chemistry, even in this movie, is top tier, I must say. And Bucky's character development has been crazy because I had no earthly clue that James Buchanan Barnes, Bucky, the Winter Soldier, is now in a position of politics now. I would have never thought that in a million years after watching what is my favorite MCU movie, The Winter Soldier. That is my favorite MCU movie. I'm just saying. Sue me. It's just perfect to me. But I never would have thought that Bucky would be in politics of all things. And I also got to admit that Harrison Ford did an amazing job. Going into this, I had no clue how good Harrison Ford was going to be because of the original Thunderbolt Ross. I can't quite remember his name, but he passed away.
Where are the 50 cows? Move your asses!
But he was an excellent Ross. So, Harrison Ford stepping into this role, I kind of had my reservations like, okay, how was his interpretation of this character going to be? But he actually did a great job. And I love that the storyline kind of coincides with Edward Norton's Incredible Hulk. I thought was awesome. Some of the callbacks to the characters were amazing. So I definitely like the consistency of the storyline, involving that movie. I love that they highlighted Harrison Ford's like turmoil of like turning over a new leaf, even though he had done bad, and they do kind of highlight a lot of the bad that he's done. I love the turmoil of his demons kind of catching up with him.
Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the United States, Thaddeus Ross.
So I love that they showed that struggle, that struggle of, his mistakes on one end conflicting with who he's trying to be. So, I mean, overall, I would give this movie 4 out of 5. And my only gripe about this movie is that for all of the anticipation of leading up to Red Hulk's transformation, the fight scene wasn't enough. But, part of me kind of gets it because, they have to save some for later. Red Hulk isn't finished. He's coming back at some point, so they're kind of, kind of teasing us essentially with Red Hulk's transformation. Because we don't know what'll happen when he meets up with Green Hulk. So who knows? So, there's a lot of possibilities for them to do things with Harrison Ford and Red Hulk. So I love that. But me personally, I wish we could have got at least another just 2 to 3 minutes more of rampant carnage.
Since when were they red?
Honestly, that right there leads me to one of my biggest questions about this movie. I know that we have Doomsday coming up in, I think, another year or so. But with them bringing back that Celestial, will we see Galactus at some point? Because, Doom is one thing. Galactus is an entirely different problem altogether. Like, I don't know, how many of you know much about Galactus, but if you have not, go to any YouTube video, look him up. The guy is a legit destroyer. And I don't mean Thanos. I mean, the guy is a legit, full-blown, certified destroyer. And something that this MCU movie did that no other MCU movie has done, I would say probably since Endgame or Spider-Man No Way Home, is actually give the MCU direction. They're finally, having Cap be the focal point of assembling the Avengers again, because everybody just kind of made their own, movies or whatever. You've had, Shang-Chi, you've had Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness, you had, the Marvels, Miss Marvel, Captain Marvel. Like, everybody's kind of been doing their own solo thing without the MCU having like a general direction. So I love that this kind of gives everybody, like a true direction for the MCU as a whole. Of course, this is leading up to Doomsday, but I love that this is the foundation for where they're going. So I absolutely love that. And also, a big centerpiece around this movie was about adamantium. Well, the way they kind of told it was, adamantium was in one of the Celestials from the Eternals. So that kind of leads me to believe, like, hey, are the Eternals coming back? Like we never kind of really finished that story. All we saw was them get yanked up literally from the ground into space and then get portaled God knows where. So, will we see the Eternals? Will they be coming back? I mean, I genuinely hope so. I think that is, awesome if they do. I really hope so. I think the Eternals is very underrated. But I hope, I'm glad that they kind of leaves the door to say, hey, they're continuing with that storyline. We may go somewhere with that too.
No super serum, no blonde hair or blue eyes. The only power I have is that I believe we can do better.
With that said, I hope everybody has an awesome day. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll see you later.